time to give the people what they want. It's Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David and Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2 and ESPN Radio. What do?
We give the people what they want.
I don't know if everybody wanted this, but I definitely wanted this to happen.
What's that?
Jim Harbaugh, the Kanye West of college football, he was making a move to put my man Barry and his wife Michelle Obama as honorary captains for a Michigan football game.
This excites me. Why you tee this up? Can I get my bat?
He said, quote, "They worked very hard to come. They're not going to be able to do it." I added the it. "Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make it this year." He did not say they're not going to be able to do it, but he should have. This makes me sad. I wanted to see it happen. Why do you think he could not get this done?
Because he was on the other line with the Fab Five, and we going to be the honorary captain.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
What up, though?
Give us the details. What's happening this weekend in Ann Arbor?
So long story short, the Fab Five, minus Chris Webber, hosted a camp in Ann Arbor. Jawan and Jimmy King went to campus. Mm-hmm. They got a chance to talk to Coach Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. They reached out to me and Ray Jackson and see if we were interested, because I'm fortunate enough to be inducted in the Hall of Fame because of your strongly worded email on Friday, that since I'm going to be in town, would I join them in what we consider being the team captains for the University of Michigan this Saturday as we crush Air Force.
I'm glad you're honorary captains during an Air Force game. You know what I mean? Like, you think you want to be there for the big games, but you want to be there to celebrate afterwards.
I just want to be there, period.
I'm
John
excited for
Beeline
that.
reached out to me as well. It's going to be a great weekend in A Square.
I'm not going to act like I'm going to watch the game, because I'm not. But I'll watch the clip online of you guys standing there waving. That's how it works, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. Moving on. More off-season pickup basketball footage has leaked. I don't know why I care about this so much, but I do. I don't know why I care about this, but I do.
Because you play a lot of pickup.
There's two things I love. I love NBA basketball. I love pickup basketball. And you get to blend the two together. It makes me so happy. Carmelo Anthony, James Harden, and Chris Paul were all playing, along with some other NBA players, less notable. Do you think they did this intentionally to send the Knicks and the Rockets a message? Because that's exactly how I think, because I overthink everything.
Usually, athletes that are socially savvy, like the guys that you mentioned, future Hall of Famers and seasoned vets, everything is calculated, including not only who's they're playing, but who's they're filming and who's
what
posting.
Team, who's on whose team. Yep. Because it's not like they have some private. They could play private if they wanted to. Like, these clips only make it online because they want them to.
You mind if I post this one? No, I missed that layup. I don't like that way my hands are looking.
They could easily find a gym where they know somebody that would lock the doors and no one else would be there except for them. But they go to the same gym everybody else does, where there's people waiting around, and they post all the clips online. Somewhere Daryl Morey watched it, and he was like, I don't know if this is going to work.
And somewhere Scott Perry watched it, like, we're not taking Ryan Anderson contract.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wait, 80 million 3 years for, wait, who? 60 million 3 years? Ryan Anderson? Please. Kobe Bryant is getting
Black Mamba.
Both of his jerseys retired on December 18th when they host the Golden State Warriors. I have a lot of follow-up questions. But number one is, how do you logistically retire both jerseys?
Easy. You just put them on the same banner.
But then you got 824. You got two separate jerseys, one banner?
Correct.
So only one goes up in the one banner goes in the rafters. It's got two different jerseys.
It'll be one banner with two jerseys. And his situation is so unique because when you play for 20 straight years and have an illustrious career like his, you have different phases where, as number 8, he was a young player finding himself,
Kobe,
rocking the fro.
Yep.
And while he was an all-NBA performer, which was unique, he played with an MVP in Shaq. Once he leaves, then all of a sudden, you reemerge.
One clip, Kobe.
And he rocking number 24, winning 2 more championships. So the one thing that was a constant, each of those championships, Phil Jackson was on the sideline.
Well, here's the thing. No one wants to be number 8. And if I'm Magic Johnson, I'm like, why his banner bigger than mine? Like, I'm like, you can put 2 jerseys on it, but it cannot be bigger than my banner. It cannot be.
The Lakers and the Celtics are as unique as they come in professional sports because they have so many notable players hanging from the rafters and with statues and things of that nature. He can't get 2 banners.
There's not that much real estate up there. For the Lakers and Celtics, don't have too much real estate in the rafters anymore. The Clippers aren't taking up any, I'll tell you that much. Moving on, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were working out together.
Dwayne Wade not on the Cavs
That's
yet?
the thing. And LeBron's just like, oh, it just feels different with my brother Dwayne Wade there. Like, what can we do? Like, can we just do this? Like, Bulls, just pay the man. I'll tell you where it's going to end up. What's he owed? $21 million. Bulls, you're going to have to write a $16 million check. That's how it's going to work. Can we
Not going to be able to do it.
You don't think he'll get 16 to go away?
Why would the Chicago Bulls?
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because Dwayne Wade already is not talking to them, and he will just poison. He'll poison the young roster. He'll be active.
There are some people that
in
felt
poisoning
like
the young roster.
that was the initial thrust last year with him and Jimmy Butler when Rajon Rondo ended up doing a post. Basically, that was chastising both of them as players
Dwayne
and
Wade
leaders.
is going to say this with his face. Oh, you thought I was poisoning the roster last year. Wait till you see me this year. I'm going to show up 40 pounds overweight.
What do we celebrate on this show?
Pretty much everything.
Power couples.
Oh, yeah, we celebrate power couples.
Okay, LeBron and Savannah are a power couple. Mm-hmm. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are a power couple. And you mean to tell me he's going to walk to his wife and say, they owed me 21. I opted in for that reason. That's the only reason why he signed the contract,
They're not
right?
making him run at a championship.
And so now you think he's just going to go away for 8?
No, I said 16.
They're not going to, the Bulls won't do that. Why am I giving you $16 million to go play in the Eastern
So every
Conference and win
single
a
day you see
championship?
the studio go, oh, he's not on the Cavs yet, he's on the Cavs yet, then what's it going to take? What is going to happen then? Just a
Half.
matter of money? Just a matter of money?
Half.
Half? So this sounds like it's going to take a while. It might be Christmas. You might celebrate Christmas in Chicago.
No, this is what you do too. Since you're not getting the number that you want, you get a couple of the checks first.
Oh, the game checks?
No doubt about
so then
it.
what they owe you goes down a little bit?
No doubt. And then November, December, around the holiday, then you start to get serious about the buyout.
This sounds like someone who's been bought out before.
Ding, 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 ding. And you know when it happened? In December.
Yeah. So we look forward to this Christmas when the big
Caught that, didn't
game
you?
and the Cleveland Cavaliers will not just be on national
saw
TV at Christmas with the
that.
new uniforms. They'll be on national TV at Christmas with the new roster. When we come back on Jalen and Jacoby, we actually did some research and we prepared a segment comparing the NFL and the NBA. That's next on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
I'll drink your bath water, girl. I'll lay down my jacket so you can walk over a puddle.
I'll never do that. That's what I just don't understand. I will open up every door for you. I will pay for every bill. But if we come to a puddle, you want me to take my jacket off and lay it down and then have to carry around a wet jacket for the rest of the day? That's just dumb. I would never do that. I would never put down my jacket. What kind of jacket do you think I'm wearing? My jacket's not made of wood. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, you and I have talked about this for quite some time. And this is one of those off-wax conversations that we have in meetings and bars. We're going to bring it on wax. It's about the NFL and the NBA. And whether you are a casual fan or you a sports media like we are that live this stuff, there's a general feeling that the NBA is sort of closing the gap on the NFL. But before we break into exactly why, let's just establish where things are as they stand. Because the NFL is far and away the 600-pound gorilla in sports media. In 2015, there was a Harris poll, and they asked people, about 1,500 people, this is a big sample size, what their favorite sport was. 33% said football. Only 5% said basketball. And then what do we always do in this show? We follow the money, right? And when you follow the money, you look at the totality, the approximate totality of how much money is generated by each sport. The NFL generates 13 or 14 billion, and the NBA generates 5 billion. So you've got many more people saying that football is their favorite sport, about 6 times as many, and then they're generating about 3 times as many dollars as the NBA is generating. Yet there's this feeling that we both feel, and that most even just casual sports fans feel, that the NBA is closing that gap and becoming the most popular sport in America. Why do we feel that way?
I'm going to shoot down the 2 theories that you said initially for those that feel like the NFL still has a distinct edge on the NBA. The first thing you said, 1,500 people were polled. That's not a true sample size.
I understand statistics, and it is, but continue.
Also, you asked what is their favorite sport. Guess what? My favorite sport is football.
Exactly.
But when you ask parents, what do they want their kids to participate in?
I'm not letting my child play football.
Okay, so that shoots that one down. The other thing, 13 billion versus 5 billion generated. Your favorite NBA arena probably hosts 25,000 people. Your favorite football stadium hosts 75,000 people.
Jalen, they play a lot more games in the NBA.
Correct. I'm just saying. So here's where I really want to go, though. When you look at the dynamics of the NFL and the NBA, the NFL is a gas-guzzling truck, and the NBA is a sports car.
Okay, explain.
When you say follow the money, first we're going to go to the Forbes list. Okay? For 2 leagues, both red, white, and blue on their logos, baseball in there too. But one of them is of a former player, Jerry West, highlighting, promoting the athlete that's wearing a tank top and shorts. The other is of a shield that just so happens to mask an U.S. flag? Oh, that's currently being protested by their players. Okay, got it. So let's go to the Forbes list. Of the top 50, there's 17 NBA players. It's only 7 NFL players. 4 NBA players in the top 10. The current Madden game, I was just watching the commercial. I love Madden. Don't you love Madden?
I used to play, but I don't play anymore.
Okay. Do you know who's on the commercial? 2 basketball players. Harden and CP3. No NFL players were available? Anyway, next point. As we talk about endorsements, 15 NBA players in the top 50. 15. 6 NFL players.
And I think that speaks to the Madden thing. It's like, if you want to sell something, you go to NBA players. That's it. It's like, if you want to sell something, they're now using NBA players to sell NFL products because of what you just said, is they have a proven track record of selling things.
Of the top endorsers in sports, there are 0 NFL players in the top 10. I know you see Odell and Gronk and Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers on commercials, Richard Sherman. Guess what? Those only ones.
And they play on Sundays, too.
And some of them probably are league sponsored. Lastly, when you talk about the popularity of the individual, it plays out no further than social media, where the NBA's done a really good job of driving its content.
Yep.
Even allows you to use its footage in replays. You can't even do that in the NFL.
I mean, that's a huge thing to me, is I feel that the NBA they're saying, you know what? We can't stop time. And our fan base is going to get older over time, so we need to invest in the younger fan base. They've done a much better job at promoting their sport digitally, internationally, to a young millennial audience. I think that's key.
And so engagement on social media and this era is truly what has allowed the NBA to ascend past football as it relates to popularity amongst the people, not just amongst the dollar. So let's go to social media. Of the top 50 athletes, 8 of them are NBA players. Guess how many are NFL players? 0.
Of the top 50 athletes on social media, there's 0 NFL players.
Correct.
I think it also gets back to the point you made about the 2 logos, is the NBA actively promotes their players and they create stars. Where if you look at the headlines going into the NBA season, we're talking about Kyrie Irving, we're talking about LeBron James, we're joking about Dwayne Wade, and we're doing these things. If you look at the headlines going into the NFL season,
Ezekiel Elliott, concussions.
That's what it is. It's player safety, and it's court cases and going back and forth with arbitration.
We talked about this with Richard Sherman on our show during the ESPYs. And I encouraged he and NFL players to take the power back by striking right now. Don't wait 4 or 5 years. half of the players won't be in the game then that are in right now. If they decided on Sunday that, you know what, I don't care about your fantasy team. I love my job in football, but we're just going to take this week off so we can get everybody back to the table.
That $13 billion that the NFL generates would start draining very quickly.
And you don't have to you don't have to do it every week. Imagine if they just did it one time. The kind of message that would send. Non-guaranteed contracts in arguably the most physical sport. We don't even care if they use PEDs because we wouldn't play. We wouldn't run into and get hit as hard as they're getting hit.
In the last 3 years, there have been 23 $100 million guaranteed contracts signed in the NBA. 23 $100 million contracts just in the last 3 years. Guess how many in the NFL?
1, Andrew Luck. Maybe 2, Joe Flacco.
Guaranteed. Zero. Absolutely zero. It's Matt Stafford, $92 million, and then you get Andrew at $87, and then Derek Carr and Von Miller at $70.
There isn't an NFL player with $100 million guaranteed on their contract for a sport that you just said generates $15 billion.
And the thing about it is, while the NFL is far and away more popular and makes more money, the NBA is trending in a better direction.
I disagree. Why do you think the NFL is more popular?
Because they did a poll, and it was clearly they were 6 times more popular, Jalen Rose.
About this?
I have facts here.
Okay, here's another thing. The NBA is global.
That's
the
another
NFL
reason that
isn't.
they're growing.
So you can't tell me it's more popular around the world. It isn't.
No, the NFL is a domestic sport.
Boom.
But if I was owning a franchise, I would much rather own an NBA franchise than an NFL franchise.
There we go.
Because I want to look at the future value of the franchise.
You just gave the distinction that this segment was all about. You're talking about a sport that's popular domestically that also has the logo of a U.S. flag versus a sport that's global and markets its players.
Of course. And you know what?
And lastly, one that has the respect of its commissioner versus the NFL, who players continue to disrespect their leader.
For good reason. When we come back, we're going to go in on Ted Cruz. We'll tell you why. That's next on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Ted.
Theodore.
Mr. Cruz.
Teddy.
Cruz.
Lion Ted.
Come on, Ted. Ted Cruz. Not a friend of the program.
No.
Jalen Rose one time to send a nice positive tweet just supporting peaceful protest, just supporting people expressing their American rights. Ted Cruz had the nerve to fire back at you on Twitter 13 hours later with not one but 2 responses. Twitter fingers, Ted.
No doubt.
And last night at 1 in the morning, probably after he was done watching Jalen and Jacoby, because that's when we come on, someone liked some porn from his Twitter account. Ted.
Lion Ted.
He described it on the staffing problem. Because when he's got multiple people that have his passwords, it must have been somebody else. It must have been somebody else, right? Because when you work for Ted Cruz, you're always just looking at Twitter at 1 in the morning with his account locked in.
And how about this? Him tweeting our program was a year ago today. And can't make this up.
And I never thought that him tweeting what he tweeted at you was going to be the second worst thing that he's done on Twitter for his career.
Well,
but apparently that's what happened.
The timeline makes sense. I sent my tweet
a year ago
at 8 p.m.
on the 11th.
And he sent his at 8 a.m.
So that means he was just cooking up his responses for like 14 hours. We know what he was doing now for those 14 hours.
There you go.
Now we know what he was doing for those 14 hours. He's like, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you, Jalen Rose. Let me just work on something else for the time being.
But I must say this, though.
We're going to get fired.
On my phone.
We're definitely going to get fired.
Where the like button is also where you go to the previous screen.
Oh, every time we talk about these things, I check my likes first. Every time we talk about someone accidentally liking something, I check my likes first on Twitter.
So I do, to keep it 100, see how that can happen.
Totally understand how this can happen. Totally understand how this can happen. But that being said,
Theodore.
Teddy. Come on now.
Theatric.
Question. ESPN came out with their NBA ranking thing where they rank all the players. It's mainly just sort of some fodder for the offseason to get people like us talking about it and this, and that. They ranked Lonzo Ball ahead of Carmelo Anthony. Is that a failed test? Did ESPN just fail a test?
ESPN
Did ESPN
failed the
as a
test.
whole just fail a drug test?
And the great thing about it, I didn't participate in that poll.
Of course not.
So that don't go down as a failed test for me.
Of course not. You have nothing to do with that. But how, I mean, like, Carmelo Anthony, hoodie, no hoodie, Knicks, Blazers, Rockets, wherever. You could put Lonzo Ball ahead of him. He had a decent summer league. He was the second best player on the summer league team. Kuz is probably better.
Carmelo did lead a NBA team last year in multiple
To the
statistical
lottery.
categories.
And let him right to the lottery the last 4 or 5 years.
He will be in the Hall of Fame one day. The same